So, Mr. Tester, we just got inside the cab. One of the first things I want to do is first let's check our seat belts. If you would with me, what we're checking for is to make sure that the seat belts are properly mounted and secured at the top and bottom mounts. They're not cut or frayed, and they latch and unlatch properly. We could just leave them on. All right, now I want to adjust the seats and the mirrors to my viewing pleasure, but to do the mirrors, I gotta have it on to the on position, so I'm gonna adjust my seats and mirrors to me, and they're set. All right, before I crank my truck and do my safe start, I want to talk about my steering wheel. It is properly mounted and secured. It's a 20-inch steering wheel. It's not bent or dented, and it's no more than 2 inches or 10 degrees of free play on the steering wheel. And I want to turn my truck to the on position. And talk about all the fault lights. My 2 ABS and 1 DEF. DEF and 2 ABS, and all other fault lights come on and go off like they properly should. Now, Mr. Tester, I'd like to do a safe start. I want to make sure my vehicle is in neutral, foot on the clutch and brake, and I can go ahead and start. What is wrong with this damn thing, man? Alrighty. We'll have that another minute. The reason why I started my truck so early is so I can get my gauges warmed up. Now, a student just came off the road, so the gauges, especially the water temperature gauge, the truck is already at operating temperature. I understand that. But I want to get my gauges warmed up, especially if I'm the first on the test. Right? First guy to come out on the truck and test. The truck is cold. The water temperature gauge is going to be at 0 to, the coolant reservoir warms up. Either way, I want to start on my end cap with the windshield. The windshield is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, bent, or broken. It is clean and clear, free of illegal stickers. Around the windshield is a seal. That seal is there to stop inclement weather, dust, sand, rain getting inside the cab. So I want to make sure it's not leaking. It's properly mounted and secured. There's no abrasions, bubbles, cuts, or dry rot. Then I want to go to the windshield wipers. The windshield wipers, the arms themselves are properly mounted and secured. They're not bent or dented. The blade itself, there's number one, it's not missing. There's no abrasions, bubbles, cuts, or dry rot. I want to turn the windshield wipers on and make sure that they function properly. And I also want to turn on the wiper fluid. And as you can see, it comes on and cleans the windshield. I want to go to my windows. My windows are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked or broken. They're clean and clear, free of illegal stickers. I want to roll them up and make sure they go up and down like they properly should. Then I want to go to my mirrors. My mirrors are properly mounted and secured. No missing screws, nuts, or bolts. This one here is cracked, so I annotate that on my DVIR. Other than that, I'll be making sure the rest of them are not cracked, bent, or broken. Clean and clear, free of illegal stickers. I want to go to my city horn, my highway horn, my city horn, and make sure that they work properly. I want to come straight down to my pedals. I have my clutch pedal. I'm going to back up a little bit. My clutch pedal. I want to make sure there's no more than 1 inch of free play, then 2 to 6 inches of toe play. I want to make sure my brakes are firm to the touch and my accelerator doesn't stick. Underneath these, I want to make sure that there's no obstruction underneath these that will prohibit them, like soda cans or shoes, that will prohibit these from functioning properly. So free of obstruction underneath. And on top of each one of them, you can see the rubber or anti-slip surfaces on it. I want to come here to my gear shift. My gear shift is properly mounted and secured. No missing screws around the base. This rubber boot is here to stop exhaust fumes or carbon monoxide poisoning from getting inside my cab. So I want to make sure there's no holes, abrasions, bubbles, cuts in it. The metal arm is not bent or dented. I want to make sure that the gear shift goes in high and low easily. And I just want to take it and put it in a couple gears to make sure it flows in and out of gear smoothly, and it does. I want to come to my defrost. And if you feel up there, you got a few vents up there and a couple on the side here. I want to make sure I'm blowing defrost. Then the one on the side is right there. Defrost the window, right? The one's up front. Then I want to turn it to heater. And make sure I'm not going to leave it on long. I just want to make sure we get heat. As you see, it's getting hot. So I'm turning it back to cold real quick. Now, I want to go to my indicators, my four-way flashers. Indicators work properly. I'm going to cut on all the lights, and I'm going to go to my left turn signal, right turn signal, high beam, low beam. Good question. You asked me why did I cut on the lights, right? I can get the left, I can get the right, but I cannot get the high beam, low beam without the lights being on. And I'm going to need them at the end of the test. So left, right, high beam, low beam. Just cut them on. You got to even say that. Just cut them. Now I want to talk about my gauges, and I'm done with my end cap. I have my voltmeter. Normal operating ranges between 12 and 14 volts. I am currently sitting at 13 and a half. I have my oil temperature gauge. Normal operating ranges between 40 and 60. I'm currently sitting at about a 35. I have my water temperature gauge. Normal operating range is between 170 and 210. I'm currently sitting at 190. I'm idling at about a 6. Speedometer can't be checked unless I'm moving. I have my primary and secondary air tank, which both sitting at governor cutout, which is 125. My fuel gauge is reading that full. I can verify that by looking at inside the fuel tank. My brake apply pressure gauge, check to see if that worked by putting pressure on the brakes or the trailer valve. As you see, both work. And then my DEF gauge. I must have at least 1/8 of a tank. I'm currently sitting at 0. The reason why, this is truck 3, we took DEF off of this truck. That's why it sounds like that, right? Sounds like an old school truck. So if you ever test a truck 3, just understand truck 3 DEF is deleted. As a DEF tank, they didn't take off the parts. They just deleted the whole system so we don't have to put DEF in.
You going back out and get with the truck back?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll lock it up. I'll lock it up. But I must have at least 1/8 of a tank. And like if you're in truck 3, I must. This is truck. Yeah. If you're in truck 2, car, it must be at least 1/8 of a tank, and it's at half, or 3/4, or full, whatever it's at. Just tell me. All of these gauges are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked or broken. They're clean and clear, and all seem to be working properly. Now, Mr. Tester, I'd like to start my laps. Pause.